Hey everyone, welcome to the very first video of this YouTube channel. Many of you may not know me, some of you may know me. I have a YouTube channel where I've taught all about print on demand for many years. I've spoken about Zazzle, I've spoken about TeePublic, Redbubble, and really all the other channels, but I want this channel to be specifically catered to Zazzle. I'm not saying that I'm going to post here all the time, but I might as well talk about it and have a channel specifically for Zazzle. I kind of feel like in the new year here, I want to be a little bit more organized and talk about each respective platform on its own, well, YouTube channel. That might be a bad decision, a good decision, who knows. But I want to talk about Zazzle Print on Demand. So today in this video, very first video, I'll go ahead and talk about my story on Zazzle and how my opinion changed of it. For those who are curious, at the time where I first started Zazzle, I had already been making money on a website called Society6, which is really not what it used to be. Today, it's literally a completely different platform. But at the time, Society6 was a phenomenal website that made me a lot of money. I had been making money on TeePublic and on Redbubble, and I had actually a Amazon merch account at the time, but a few years later it ended up getting banned. So this is just to kind of set the scene for you here. I started using Zazzle, I started creating, and I started treating it kind of like all the other platforms I was creating on, which was a big mistake for me. I'll just be 100% honest. But for reference, the very first month I ever did anything on TeePublic, I made over $1,200. On Redbubble, I think the very first month ever, and that was probably my second platform I've ever, worked on or made a video on, or even talked about, honestly, I think I made maybe $300-400 the first month, maybe even less. But Zazzle, I made absolutely nothing the first month. And, it was very confusing to me. I couldn't understand why. I really didn't know what I was doing wrong. I didn't understand where I was making any mistakes if I was. I just didn't understand why I wasn't making any sales. In fact, this kind of continued for the next 2 months. So a total of 3 months, about 90 days, I had no sales, not a single sale. And then finally I had that very first sale. I've told this story before on my other YouTube channel, but nonetheless, that channel doesn't matter. We're here now. But the very first sale was a bulk order of keychains, right? It was a bulk order of keychains, and it was interesting to me. It was interesting to me that I was able to sell this bulk order of keychains, and the profit was actually relatively high compared to, any other platform's products that I sell for one singular order. So I kind of sat there and I said, okay, clearly there was something that I've maybe done wrong or I didn't understand. There was something that I was missing. How come I was sitting here for 3 months with really no sales, and then all of a sudden I got a sale 90 days later? Well, there's many things I learned in that phase, and that's kind of the story or the journey that I went on to truly understand Zazzle as a platform. I want to tell you that Zazzle as a platform is relatively simple, but the biggest mistake you can do, which was what I was doing, was treating Zazzle as a platform that is just like the others. Just like the others, like Redbubble, like TeePublic, like Merch by Amazon. The interesting thing about Zazzle that's unique to its own kind versus all the other print-on-demand platforms or marketplaces, in my opinion, is that you can customize the product as a consumer. I'm not talking about as a designer. Designers, of course, customize the products, and they design the products the way they want, and they put them up for sale. I'm talking about on a consumer's end. If you're familiar, and let's go ahead and go on the Zazzle website right now. If you look at the website, you have all kinds of different categories and different niches, right? From office to school, invitations. We look at what kind of invitations. We have wedding invitations, for example, baby shower invitations, birthday invitations. These are different products for certain events. Now, if you think about it, when somebody buys, for example, a wedding invitation, they're not going to use the default text that's shown. They're going to customize it, right? And that just makes perfect sense, right? Or they're going to personalize it. So, for example, here we have Gwyneth and Laurent for what seems to be a wedding invitation. It's whoever ends up buying this, they're going to change the text at the very least, right? And what this is this is a actually affordable alternative to going to some company. If you guys are familiar, a lot of people go to, like, for example, the kiosks in the mall, or they go to some wedding venue to customize things like this, and they do it for them, and they charge them a ridiculous fee, a ridiculous amount. So let's just say maybe they could print out, let's just say, a quantity of 50 invites or 100 invites. Let's make it 100 invites, right? Ends up being $128 for a wedding venue to end up printing these wedding invitations. It could be $300 US dollars, 330, US dollars, and that's actually pretty normal, especially in the wedding niche. The companies know that people are buying off of emotion, and they know that people, you don't get many weddings in life. You only get a one, and in some cases, some people might have two or three if they marry multiple times. But really, that first wedding is the most important in most people's lives. It's definitely the most pivotal, and therefore, they spend a lot of money. I heard Kevin O'Leary say this, and he said that the two times that people pay with, non-discretionary funds, meaning all kinds of money, even money that they don't have, is during funerals and during weddings. Those are the two periods of time that people spend like crazy. And so it's absolutely true. But Zazzle offers that alternative. The point here is that people customize the product. And that's what makes this platform different. Now, you might ask why. Well, from a semantic point of view, yes, it's different because the consumer has to go in, click a button, type some stuff, right? Or change some things, and then hit publish and then print, right? And when I say print, what do I mean by that? I mean they pay for the product, it gets printed and gets sent to them. But that's not really what's important. What's important here is that the consumer is adding their own personal touch, and more importantly, they're usually buying a product in bulk. On Zazzle as a platform, there are many products that are sold, but most of the products that actually get sold, at least from my perspective, and I might be wrong on this, but most of the products that actually get sold and that you get a commission on or a royalty on, it's usually a product that's sold in bulk. It's not usually a product that is SEO search based. Now, I'm about to blow a whole bunch of minds, but what do I mean when I say SEO search based? An SEO search based product, right? I want you guys to understand this, is a product that's a one-off. For example, if I go to, Amazon.com and I look for a cute Santa Claus t-shirt, that's a one-off. I'm not going to buy that product in bulk for 50 different people and write wedding, Michael and Larissa's wedding, and I'm not going to write a whole bunch of fancy dates on it and then print it out for a whole bunch of people. That's not going to happen. It's just a one thing. It's a one-time thing. I might buy the product and that's it, right? For my own personal use, not for an event, not for an experience, just for a one-time thing. Or a one-time purchase, right? It's not like I'm doing a bulk order. However, on Zazzle, bulk orders exist. So one of the things that I was doing is I was treating Zazzle like a bulk order platform. If I had sat down, I had really studied the website just for, a few hours before even publishing or doing anything with it, I probably would have gotten sales faster than 90 days. 90 days has been my record. It was about 3 months. It was probably like 91 days, to be honest with you, or 92 days. But the point is that I waited a very long time to get a sale, not because the platform is hard to make money on, but because of my lack of understanding of the platform. And hopefully, I kind of helped you guys understand my point of view with Zazzle and kind of my experience with it. And I'm going to be creating many more videos here in the future talking about Zazzle and teaching you guys everything I know for you guys to be able to make money on Zazzle as well. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you for watching, and peace out. Bye.